Here we go, everybody. Welcome. Cardinal TV. Checking out the Menor High School game tonight. Thursday night special, playing against the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. October the 2nd. 71 degrees, game time. Beautiful night here in Menor, Ohio. The fourth of 4 home games in a row. Cardinals 3-0 at home and 5-0 in the beginning of the 2014 season here. Cardinals coming off a decisive victory last week at home again versus the Brush Sharks. Beating up on the Brush team with the final score of 48-0. Their second shutout of the season. Their first one coming 2 weeks earlier against the Euclid Panthers right here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium in Menor. Also that being a pretty decisive victory, 49-0 that time over Euclid. Again this evening, Shaker Heights Red Raiders visiting here in Menor, Ohio. Jerome T. Osborne Senior Stadium, coming in with a paltry 1-4 record on the season. Next week the Cardinals get into the real meat of their schedule, though, as they're going to be taking on the Brunswick Blue Devils on the road at Brunswick Automart Stadium. It's going to be a 7 o'clock kickoff next Friday night, October the 10th. Following that, they're going to go up against the undefeated Solon Comets. Week after that, they're going to be on the road versus the Hudson Explorers again, another undefeated team. And then finally, the home capper, the last game of the regular season right here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium on Halloween night, Friday, October the 31st, versus the 4-1 Strongsville Mustangs. So after facing a number of teams with a pretty poor record the past few weeks and doing what they're supposed to do and winning decisively and by big margins in each of those victories, the next few weeks are going to be a real challenge for the Cardinals, so it'll be a real test to see if they can continue putting up the big scoring efforts and defensive stops that they've been doing these past few weeks at home. Pete Stark, Cardinal TV, glad to have you here. You can watch the replay of this game, which you may be doing on Cardinal TV, Menor, Ohio YouTube channel. Also on Time Warner Cable in the city of Menor, channel 96.96. And also this year, we have the option you could stream the game live on ESPNCleveland.com. Cardinals getting set to receive the kickoff here. Cardinals coming off that big victory last week, and run down some of the stats. Whooping up on the Brush Sharks, who were visiting Menor last week. Cardinals with 181 rushing yards on the ground. Brush only mustering up 6. 192 passing yards for the Cards versus Brush only had 53. So the Cardinals overwhelming 373 yards versus 59 for the Brush Sharks last week. Cardinals taking the kickoff, running it back to close to their own 25-yard line. That's Brendan Parker, number 15, the senior kickoff returner for the Cards with a nice return. It's the student section wearing all pink this evening, saluting the team following that opening game kickoff. 11:55 to go in the first quarter of play. The Menor Cardinals, undefeated on the season, stepping to the line of scrimmage, getting set for the first play of the game. Shaker Heights being coached by Jarvis Gibson. Only one victory on the season once again, 1-4 for Shaker Heights. His senior quarterback, Jake Floria, finding a favorite target of his, number 2, Jason Blizzard. Going to bring up a second down for the Cardinals. Kyle Davis, number 23, on the stop for Shaker Heights. His Cardinals going to be approaching a second down and 6 yards to go. Jake Floria faking the handoff. And he did hand it off. It's going forward for some positive yards. That was number 44, Alex Matthews, getting close to the 35-yard line. They're going to be spotted at about the 34-yard line for the Cardinals. Going to be just shy of a first down. Looks like it's going to be third down and short for the Cards. Call it 3rd down and 1 as the officials take a timeout. Again, breaking down some of the stats from last week, the Cardinals with a pretty impressive victory overall, from the offense to the defense and special teams all around. 373 yards gained last week versus only giving up 59 for the opposition Brush Sharks. Cardinals gained 7.3 yards per play last week while only giving up 1.3 yards, as the officials are measuring to see if the Cardinals did in fact get a first down on that run by Alex Matthews, but they are inches away from the first, so it's going to be a third down and short yardage situation. Senior quarterback Jake Floria getting set in that familiar shotgun spread offense formation. One receiver to the right, three receivers to his left. Flanked by Alex Matthews, the running back, who he gives the ball to. He's stuffed behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to be short of the first down on that third down and short rushing attempt. Inside 11 minutes to play in the first quarter. Cardinals going to end up with a fourth down and 2 yards to go. Cardinals going for it as they customarily do on fourth down. Looking to draw the defense off sides. 13 seconds remaining on the play clock. Jake Flory getting a call from the sideline. Again, after trying to draw the defense off sides, 4 seconds remaining. And he's going to go ahead and pooch the punt. No one's back to receive it, but it does take a Shaker Heights bounce down by Eddie Doherty at about the 40-yard line on the Shaker Heights side of the field. Rare for the Cards to not convert and get a first down on the first possession of the game on offense. 10:20 remaining in the first quarter of play. Cards last week, 1 of 3 on fourth down conversions. Pretty decent night on third downs last week, 5 of 9 on the Cardinals' offensive side. Some final statistics from last week, once again versus Brush. Alex Matthews had himself a ball game last week, rushing 11 times for 105 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns last week. Shaker Heights getting set on offense, 1st and 10. Quarterback Craig Robertson handing it off for a short yardage situation, stuffed by the Cardinal defense. That was number 5, Casimir Mitchell for Shaker Heights, the senior running back. Billy Hudson getting credit for the tackle for the Cards. 9:55 remaining in the first quarter of play. 2nd down and long for Shaker Heights, breaking their huddle. Again, last week with that big victory versus the Brush Sharks. Once again, the Cardinals in the second half of play inflicting the mercy rule on the opposition, which they've done every game so far this season except against the second game of the season versus St. Ignatius. All the other victories have resulted with the mercy rule in effect in the second half of play. Again, for those who may not know, this is the first year with that mercy rule, the OHSAA, putting it in place. If a team is up by over a 30-point spread in the second half of play, the time clock will continue to run. It'll only get stopped for a timeout, a change of possession, or a turnover. But last week, again with the Cardinals with the big scoring advantage, the 48-0 victory versus Brush, an opportunity to get quite a bit of underclassmen and non-starters in the game to get some repetitions. Actually behind Jake Flory, the starting quarterback. There were 3 other quarterbacks that got some reps last week. Tadarunas came in, Manning Trubisky. Manning was 3 for 3, throwing a touchdown as well. And Steve Mesgett getting some reps at the quarterback position last week. So the Cardinals being able to put in 4 quarterbacks in that game last week, really being afforded that ability because of that big victory. Big scoring output, but a big defensive presence again last week with the shutout being pitched by the defense. The defense flanked by their senior defensive lineman, Nico Lautinen, number 54, who's already verbally committed next year to go to Bowling Green State University. Shaker Heights getting set, 2nd down and 20 for the Red Raiders. Looking for some clarification from the officials, waiting for the game clock to once again start up, but breaking down some of the stats last week. That big scoring output. Eddie Doherty not showing up in the end zone for one of the first times on the season last week. Led the team in receiving, though, 4 receptions for 74 yards. As the Shaker Heights Red Raiders putting it on the ground again, coming up with minimal gain. That's number 3, Dwayne Likes. The senior running back for the Red Raiders, not finding much running room, is going to bring up a 3rd down and long situation. 3rd and 20 as we approach 9 minutes, 15 seconds in the first quarter of play. No score on the board here. Mentor Cardinals versus the visiting Shaker Heights Red Raiders. The 4th of 4 home games in a row for the Mentor Cardinals at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium, and Cardinals really enjoyed the home field advantage, undefeated at home and undefeated on the season to this point. At Shaker Heights, less than 10 seconds on the play clock. Shaker Heights getting set to pass. Almost picked off by the Cardinals. Number 27, D'Angelo Levert, getting in there, getting his hands on the ball. And if he would have caught that, he would have had clear sailing straight into the end zone for a pick 6. But regardless, it's going to bring up a 4th down situation for Shaker Heights and long, going to force them into a punting situation. Eddie Doherty getting lined up on his own 40-yard line, getting ready to receive the punt. Eddie Doherty already with 1 punt return for a touchdown on the season. He's got 6 punt returns in the early going this year for 126 yards total. His long being 50 yards, averaging 21 yards per punt return. The Shaker Heights getting close to not getting that kickoff in time. Getting it off, Eddie Doherty signaling for the fair catch at about his own 42-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. 8:43 remaining in the first quarter of play. The Cardinals looking to take possession again on the offensive side. No score in this ball game yet. Mentor versus Shaker Heights. Mentor again coming in undefeated on the season. 5-0. Shaker Heights beginning in this game with a 1-4 record. Beautiful night here in Mentor, Ohio. 71 degrees at game time temperature. Next week the Cardinals going to be moving away from the home hospitality here and going to Brunswick Automart Stadium versus the 4-1 Brunswick Blue Devils as the Cardinals offense with a bit of a shift on 1st and 10. Jake Flory in the shotgun set. Gives it to Eddie Doherty, and the defense read that play, staying at home and taking him down. Losing yards on that 1st and 10 situation. 8:30 remaining in the first quarter of play. Cardinals going to come up to a 2nd down and 13 situation following that failed play attempt.
2nd down and 13 from the 39.
Jake Floria getting set, looking downfield. He's got a receiver coming in motion. That's number 4, Malik Porter with the reception. Nice catch by Malik Porter, but going to be well shy of a 1st down, so it's going to bring up a 3rd down and 4 situation for the Cardinals offense. Malik Porter last week, 3 receptions for 32 yards, including a touchdown score. And the ball gets handed off. Eddie Doherty with some running room to 30, to 25, to 20, to 15, to 10. We're going to do it again. Eddie Doherty sprinting through the tooth of the defense, putting Mentor up on the board, 6-0, taking the early advantage. 7:36 remaining in the first quarter of play. Eddie Doherty sprinting through the Shaker Heights defense, cutting through there like butter. Sprinting past everybody on defense for that score. Eddie Doherty last week, a rare occasion, not getting into the end zone, and wanted to make his point early this week, getting in there with that sprint to the end zone, putting the Cardinals up 6-0 over the visiting Shaker Heights Red Raiders. Tyler Thompson coming in for the capper, raising the score on the extra point to 7 points for the Mentor Cardinals at home this week versus Shaker Heights Red Raiders. 0 points on the board for the visiting team. 7-point advantage for the Mentor Cardinals, following a big run by senior running back wide receiver Eddie Doherty. Eddie Doherty again last week, not getting into the end zone, but having a strong game nonetheless. 4 catches last week for 74 yards and no touchdowns, but averaged 18.5 yards per catch last week. Eddie Doherty on the season coming into this game with 4 receiving touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. This one he just ended up scoring on, being his 3rd on the season. Alex Matthews leading the team on the season coming into this game with 51 rushes for 427 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. But Eddie Doherty finding that hole and shooting on through for that touchdown score on that play. 7:36 remaining in the first quarter of play here tonight. Thursday night special. Cardinals, again, not normally playing on Thursday, accustomed to that Friday night routine, but Shaker Heights in a community with a big Jewish representation celebrating Yom Kippur on Friday night, so the game got shifted to a Thursday day change, and Cardinals take it. Shaker Heights down at about the 24-yard line on the Red Raiders side of the field. 7:32 remaining in the first quarter. Again, the Mentor Cardinals, after that quick score by Eddie Doherty, that rushing touchdown, putting the Cards up by a 7-0 advantage. Shaker Heights, coached by Jarvis Gibson, having a rough going in the early part of the season here. 1-4 record as they come in visiting Mentor. Shaker Heights hit by a lot of players from their team last year that went on to play and graduate, some going on to Division I schools such as John Henderson, a Tennessee recruit, after posting 10.5 sacks last season on the defense for Shaker Heights. And again, a number of their starters moving on and graduating last season. So a lot of players for Shaker Heights getting their first go at it on the varsity squad with starting roles this year. And the record to this point really reflecting that with a 1-4 record as they're coming on with a second down and long situation. 7:10 remaining in the first quarter of play. Cardinals, News Herald, top of the crop, #1 rated team. Cleveland.com finds the Mentor Cardinals rated second in the area. There's some difficulty with the snap as the Cardinals taking them down and making them pay for that deficiency on handling that snap. Craig Robinson having difficulty handling that snap, really losing quite a bit of yards, and Trevor Morrison quick to pounce on him and take him down. It's going to bring up a third down and long situation as the Shaker Heights is going to find the ball spotted close to their own 11-yard line. It's going to be a third down and a long 23 yards to go for the first down for Shaker. Approaching 6 minutes to play in the first quarter. Cardinals up 7-0. Craig Robinson, the junior quarterback for Shaker Heights, getting his team set as he lines up in that shotgun formation. 3 receivers to his left, 1 to the right. Looking downfield, and he's going to keep it himself, a little bit of running room before being taken down at about the 20-yard line. It's going to bring up a fourth down and long for Shaker Heights, which is going to bring on their kicking team. 5.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter of play. Cardinals 2014, again, this team putting out quite a bit of a scoring output. They're really on record pace as they're putting up the points in early going in the season. Through 5 weeks, the Cardinals have scored 236 points, which is the second most points scored in the first 5 weeks of the season, going all the way back to 1999. In fact, 2014, the Cards are one of only 3 teams to score more than 200 points in their first 5 games of the season. Eddie Doherty again signaling for the fair catch, this time a little bit closer to midfield at about their own 48-yard line. Cardinals getting set to come out again on the offensive side of the ball. First offensive possession for the Cardinals found them having to kick the ball. This quarterback, Jake Floria, initially lining up as if they were going to go for it, ended up doing a pooch punt to the opposition, and the second offensive possession for the Cardinals resulting in a long touchdown scamper by number 40, Eddie Doherty, the senior running back, Eastern Michigan commit for next year, Division I college football recruit. 5:03 remaining in the first quarter of play. Talking about the Cardinals scoring output in the first 5 games of the season, only the 2003 team scored more points through the first 5 games of the season. Eddie Doherty, what a move. Dancing and spinning as he caught the ball at the 35, and he's off the 10 to 5, the touchdown, and he dives in. Number 40, Eddie Doherty. Oh, lordy, lordy, what another touchdown. Thrilling catch. Juking the defense and running into the end zone, showing that speed, just sprinting past the Shaker Heights defense. 4:52 remaining in the first quarter of play. 52-yard touchdown for Eddie Doherty, putting the Cardinals up 13-0 over Shaker Heights. Tyler Thompson, the senior kicker, coming out to attempt the extra point kick. It's up, and it's good, putting the Cardinals up with a 14-0 lead over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Eddie Doherty again last week not getting into the end zone, making a point early on here that he wants to get back to the friendly confines of that Cardinals end zone over here at home, ending this long 4-game homestand, starting the night out right. 2 touchdowns for Eddie Doherty, showing his speed on both of those occasions, really just sprinting and outrunning the Shaker Heights defensive players. Again, going back to what I was saying, his 2014 Mentor offensive squad really on a record pace. Only one other team for the Cardinals since 1999 has scored more points through 5 games, and that was in 2003, where they put up 258 points through 5 games. This year again, 236 points for the 2014 squad. So the Cardinals get set to kick after that thrilling touchdown by Eddie Doherty. The Cardinals in the Associated Press coming into this week of play rated number 2, only behind Cincinnati Moeller, again, who Cardinals lost to last year in the state Division I championship game at Canton Fawcett Stadium. As Shaker Heights going up the sideline, and he's crushed and tackled down to the ground by the Cardinals at about the 30-yard line. That was Marcus Carthon on the run back for the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. 27, D'Angelo Levert with the statement takedown on that kickoff there, emphatically taking down Shaker Heights on that kickoff return. We remember D'Angelo, too, nearly had a pick 6 against Shaker Heights on an earlier play, falling to the ground, kicking himself for not catching it, as he had nothing but green space in front of him. So he would have had, for sure, a pick 6 situation for the Cards. Again, don't sleep on this defense. The offense gets the notoriety for all the points they're putting up, but the defense, 2 shutouts on the early going of the season through the first 5 games. The Shaker Heights had a receiver he was looking for downfield, but at about the 30-yard line, that ball bounces incomplete. Craig Robinson airing it out, looking to go big on that first down play for Shaker Heights. 4:40 remaining in the first quarter of play. 14-0, the Cards with the advantage. Eddie Doherty with both of the scores on the night at this point. Last week for the Cardinals, those who got in the scoring column, Alex Matthews had 3 rushing touchdowns for the Cards. Jason Blizzard, number 2, ended up with 1 rushing score and 1 receiving score. Jake Floria last week against Brush, passing for a touchdown. Malik Porter catching a touchdown. Nice run by Shaker Heights. Craig Robinson on the carry. Still shy of a first down, but nice run. Going to bring up a 3rd down and short situation. Brady Crandall getting credit for the tackle for the Cardinals. 4:20 remaining in the first quarter of play. Mentor with a 14-point advantage. Shaker Heights from about their own 42-yard line going for a 3rd down and short situation. Again, the Cardinals been really one of the powerhouses in all of northeastern Ohio. Some more stats for you. Since the start of the 2002 season, the Mentor Cardinals have played 155 games and combined for a record of 122-33. When the Cardinals score 30 or more points in a game, going back to 2010, Mentor is 94-5, including a streak of 18 consecutive victories when scoring 30 or more points in a game. On the converse side, on those rare occasions when the Cards score 14 points or less in a game, Mentor is just 1-14 since 2002. But we know that's been the rare occasion overall, and especially this season, as the Cardinals averaging over 47 points a game through the first 5 games this year in 2014. In 2014, Coach Trevisano's 18th season. The game versus Euclid, where the Cards won 49-0, pitching that first shutout of the season. Marked Coach Triv's 150th win of his long tenured career. Comes into this game with a record of 152-55 for a 73.4% winning percentage. Pretty impressive for Coach Trevisano. Third down and short, 3.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter of play. The Cards with a 14-0 advantage over Shaker. Shaker Heights looks like their quarterback's going to keep it again. This time, Craig Robinson, flag on the field. He would have the first down depending on what the officials call on the flag. And it looks like they're going to be walking the offense back, and they are. It's going to be a holding call versus the offense. Shaker Heights getting walked back. Both of these teams in the Northeastern Ohio Conference, though, Menor being in the Valley Division, the much stronger Valley Division. Out of the 6 teams in the Valley Division, Menor, obviously with their 5-0 undefeated record, also is joined in the Valley Division by the Hudson Explorers as well with an undefeated 5-0 record, and so is Solon, undefeated to this point, 5-0. And they're playing this evening on Thursday night, October the 2nd, versus the Mayfield Wildcats. Also in the Valley Division of the Northeastern Ohio Conference that Menor finds himself in, Brunswick and Strongsville, both with 4-1 records. As the Cardinals taking them down, stuffing them, shy of that first down. Nice defensive play. That was the quarterback trying to run for it again, Craig Robinson. 46 for the Cards. Again, calling Brady Crandall's name. A nice play by the senior linebacker for the Cards. 2:45 remaining in the first quarter play. 4th down and 10. Shaker Heights coming out with their special teams unit. Shaker Heights in that Northeastern Ohio Conference in the River Division. 2 teams coming in with 1-4 records from that River Division. Shaker Heights and Medina. Stowe Monroe Falls, the cream of that crop, with a 5-0 record. And Mayfield right behind them with a 4-1 record. All the other teams in the River Division with a losing record to this point of the season. And the kick, Eddie Doherty fumbling the ball. And he may have coughed it up to the opposition as he had difficulty handling that punt at his own 30-yard line. And Shaker Heights does recover. Could be a momentum changer at this point, where Shaker Heights not much going on the offensive side. Turnover going against the Cardinals this time on that botched punt. Eddie Doherty having trouble handling that, losing the ball. It ended up getting pounced on by the Shaker Heights Red Raiders, who gained possession about the 29-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. Going to be a 1st and 10 situation for the Red Raiders. Again this evening, Solon undefeated in the Northeastern Ohio Conference. And Menor's Valley Division undefeated going against Mayfield, who's 4-1. Good game as Cardinals stuffing the Red Raiders on defense as the quarterback trying to keep it again for minimal yards. 1:45 remaining in the first quarter of play. That's Billy Hudson for the Cards getting credit for the tackle, the junior defensive lineman for Menor. Also Trevor Morrison in there on the tackle too. 1.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter play. The Cards up by a 14-point advantage. 0 points here in the early going for Shaker Heights. But good field possession following that turnover. That botched punt receiving attempt. Eddie Doherty fumbling the ball, coughing it up to Shaker Heights. Craig Robinson still had the ball. It's a good job faking the handoff, and a quarterback keeper once again, but minimal yards going forward, stuffed by the Cards inside a minute to play in the first quarter of play. And Billy Hudson's going to get his name called again on that tackle for the Cards, and big number 54, Nico Lottinen, getting in there as well. The Bowling Green State commit, Nico Lottinen. Cards looking to tighten it up here. 3rd down for Shaker Heights. Inside a minute to play in the first quarter. Coming up on a half a minute, 35 seconds and ticking. Junior quarterback Craig Robinson for Shaker Heights lining up in that shotgun set. 3 receivers to the left-hand side, and that's where he's rolling, but he's going to keep it again. A little bit of running room, but and he won't go down, but he does finally at about the 25-yard line. Craig Robinson showing some toughness on that quarterback keeper. Had a little bit of running room before getting stuffed, but refusing to go down. D'Angelo Levert getting in on the tackle, as well as Brady Crandall, calling both of their names quite a bit here in the first quarter plays. The remaining seconds here in the early going first quarter play tick off the clock. 14 points the Cardinals drop on the Red Raiders, though. Good start, but they're being tested here on the defensive side as Shaker Heights is going to be coming out for a 4th and 6 situation. But we return to play beginning of the second quarter. You got Pete Stark, Cardinal TV. Again, you can watch the replay of this game as we do for all home football games. Once again this season in 2014, you can check us out on Time Warner Cable in the city of Mentor, channel 96.96. Or also, too, you could watch us at Cardinal TV, Mentor, Ohio on YouTube. Or now this season, you could check us live streaming during the game on ESPNCleveland.com. The Mentor Cardinals at home versus the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. Shaker Heights coming in with a 1-4 record. Looks like a mismatch on paper, and in the scoring column to this point, the undefeated Cardinals coming in at 5-0 on the season do have the strong advantage, 2-touchdown lead, but being tested here by Shaker Heights, who are coming out for a 4th down and 6 situation on about the 25-yard line on the Cardinal side of the field. Cardinals next week, tough game versus the 4-1 Brunswick Blue Devils at Brunswick Automart Stadium. As Shaker Heights getting said, number 1 quarterback Craig Robinson gets taken to the ground, pressured to throw that pass, ill-advised in the middle of the field, falling up, falling down for an incomplete pass. So it's going to be a turnover on downs to the Cardinals. It's the Cardinals offense getting set to go back out on the field as the defense stopping Shaker Heights on that good field position for the Red Raiders that they couldn't cash in. Cardinals defense doing a nice job on tightening up and preventing Shaker from getting into the scoring column, keeping that shutout intact with their 14-0 lead over Shaker Heights. Jake Floria, the senior quarterback, lining up in the shotgun set. 1 receiver to his right, 2 to his left. Alex Matthews in motion as Jake Floria is going to keep that. The 30 rushing straight ahead, close to moving the chains. It's about the 35-yard line, and it looks like he is going to have the first down. And maybe looking to measure it. And that is going to be a first down for the Cards. Nice run by Jake Flory on the quarterback keeper, finding the lane, moving the chains. 11:47 remaining in the half. Mentor, the 14-0 advantage. Jake Flory looking downfield. He's got Malik Porter, number 4. It's the running room, the 50 to 45. Shirt being tugged down to the ground at about the 35-yard line. Shaker Heights side of the field, big connection. Jake Flory to Malik Porter. 1st and 10. Let's do it again for the Cards. Big play. 11:35 remaining in the first half. Nice connection by the quarterback-receiver combo, Jake Floria and Malik Porter. Floria getting set in that shotgun position at his own 40-yard line. Looking downfield. He's got number 2, Jason Blizzard. What a catch! The one-handed grab. How did he get that? I think everybody in the stadium thought that ball was overthrown, but Blizzard going up, snagging that ball, staying in bounds and moving the chains. But they're going to say he was out of bounds. It looked very close. Circus catch by number 2, Jason Blizzard. Everybody thought he had that first down. Quite an athletic play by Jason Blizzard on that catch, but too bad they're going to call that one incomplete, out of bounds. As Jake Floria, the quarterback keeper, getting close to the 30-yard line after faking the ball to Eddie Doherty. 11 minutes remaining in the first half of play. The Cards with the 2-score advantage, 14-0 over the visiting Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Going to bring up a 3rd down situation for the Cards, 3rd and 6. Floria getting set. Jason Blizzard to his left, 3 receivers to his right. Looking to the sideline for the play call. 15 seconds remaining on the play clock. Floria. And he's going to hand the ball off to Eddie Doherty, moving straight ahead. Going to be shy of that first down as he gets to about the 28-yard line. And actually, that was number 44. That was big Alex Matthews pushing the ball for some positive yards, but still coming just shy of that first down situation for the Cards. It's going to be a 4th down and 3 for Menor from the 28. Jake Floria rolling out to his right, looking downfield, and could not connect with his receiver. Jason Blizzard over there, the intended target for Jake Floria. It's going to be an incomplete pass and going to bring up a turnover on downs, giving the ball back over to Shaker Heights. Is some first quarter statistics in the books. The first quarter of play, Menor Cardinals, 57 yards on the ground, 23 for the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. Passing yards, 0 passing yards in that first quarter of play for Shaker Heights, 65 for Menor. So total yards for Shaker Heights in the first quarter play, only 8 net yards, only 8 positive yards, 119 for the Menor Cardinals. Now, Eddie Doherty with 2 touchdown scores in that first quarter of play, 1 on the ground and 1 in the air, both for 52 yards. The Shaker Heights, Craig Robinson looking downfield, and a couple Cardinal defenders running with the intended receiver right there, Marcus Carthon, as Craig Robinson overshot his receiver. A couple Cardinals on defense running stride for stride with the Red Raiders receiver, Mark Walton, one of the defensive backs, and doing a good nice job in coverage on that play. 10 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in the first half of play. Cards with the 2-point advantage, 14-0 over Shaker. In that first quarter of play, Alex Matthews, 2 rushing attempts for 5 yards, but Eddie Doherty, the big hitter, 2 attempts for 52 yards. As the Cardinal defense trying to stop the run, but nice big run by Shaker Heights with some running room. Refusing to go down is Casimir Mitchell, the 5'11" senior running back for Shaker Heights, with a little bit of running room, moving the chains, getting a first down situation into the Cardinal side of the field. Big play for Shaker Heights, their biggest to date so far this evening in the game. 9:56 remaining in the first half. Cards with the 14-point advantage over Shaker Heights. Moving the ball again on this drive. Passing in the first quarter, Jake Flory was 3 for 3 for 65 yards, his long being that 52-yard connection with Eddie Doherty for the touchdown score. Shaker Heights getting set. Craig Robinson going to hand the ball off, was hit hard and taken down by the Cards. Casimir Mitchell, who just had that big run, not finding much going on that attempt, being taken down. Billy Hudson getting in there on the tackle for the Cards. Brady Crandall getting credit for an assist on that tackle as well, calling his name quite a bit on defense tonight for the Cards. 9.5 minutes remaining in the first half of play. Cardinals 5 games on the season, 4 out of those 5 games inflicting the mercy rule in the second half of play, but to this point that would not be in effect in the second half tonight. Bit of a rare occasion here at home for the Cards, not having that in play, as they've found that to be the situation the past 3 weeks in a row against Euclid, Twinsburg, and Brush last week. Flag on the play. It's going to be an illegal procedure penalty against the Red Raiders out of Shaker, pushing them back. Shaker Heights looking to line up with a long second down situation. 13 yards to go for first down. The quarterback keeper, and Menor sniffed that out right from the get-go. That's Craig Robinson, the quarterback, but not finding much running room ahead before being taken down. Billy Hudson getting in there again on defense, as well as Nico Lautinen on that tackle for the Cards. 8:45 remaining in the half. 14-0. The Cards looking to stop Shaker Heights. Third down and long situation. 3rd and 13. As the Red Raiders break the huddle. Cardinals, this is their 4th home game of the season, 4th in a row after their first 2 being on the road. The friendly confines here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium, the newly renovated field turf in play this season. And Robinson looking downfield. He had a receiver down there. If he would have put it in the right spot, may have had him. It looked like that was Melvin Cantrell, the intended receiver for the Red Raiders. Going to be an incomplete pass, bringing up a 4th down and 13 situation for Shaker Heights. And it looks like they're bringing out their special team squad. Not wanting to make a costly mistake, looking to kick it over to the Cards. Eddie Doherty lining up to catch the punt at about his own 10-yard line. Eddie Doherty looking to make some redemption up for that last punt attempt where couldn't handle that and fumbled the ball and ended up turning it over to Shaker Heights. And it's a short punt. It's going to drop at about the 20-yard line, take a Mentor Cardinal bounce to about the 21. 1st and 10 for the Mentor Cardinals with 8:11 remaining in the first half of play with the 2-touchdown advantage over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker. Just like the new field turf and newly renovated stadium here at Jerome T. Osborne. Little history for Shaker Heights. When they play at home, the Red Raiders play at Russell Rupp Stadium. In a stadium that was built in 1932. Home stands actually attached to the high school. In 2012, the district spent $2 million to replace the muddy field with turf, brand new track, and replace the scoreboard. Shaker Heights, Ohio, the home to the famous actor Paul Newman, born there in 1926, Shaker Heights, Ohio. Mentor Cardinals, 1st and 10. Moving the ball short of the 1st down, but about a 6-yard gain. Number 40, Eddie Doherty, on the pass reception for the Cards. Just outside of 8 minutes to play in the first half of play. Going to be a 2nd down and short situation for the Cards. Jake Flory getting set up with that spread offense. Shotgun, 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Looking downfield and throwing that ball short, intending to pass it to Jason Blizzard. Going to bring up a 3rd down and short for Mentor. Not much time going off the clock. 8:01 still showing on the board in the first half of play. Mentor Cardinals at home, 14-0, currently with the lead over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Jake Floria with 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Flanked by a running back to his left, looking downfield for a pass, short pass. Number 40, Eddie Doherty, pulling in that reception. 1st and 10, let's do it again for the Cards. 7:56 as the officials move the chains, getting set for another Mentor Cardinal 1st down play. The Cardinals getting set. Not much going on that 1st down play. Looked like it may have been number 40, Eddie. Giving credit to Alex Matthews for that run. Not much going for the Cards, but that no-huddle offense for the Cards quickly getting to the line of scrimmage. 2nd down. Jake Floria looking to scramble. Got some running room to 40. Finding some open real estate to 50 to 45. Going out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. Finding a lane, moving the chains. Jake Floria showing his 4.5 40-yard dash speed, showing his skills for the Cardinals. But they're going to bring that ball back. Flag on the field. It's going to be a holding call against the Cardinals offense. Going to bring that long quarterback keeper by Jake Floria that appeared to have given the Cards a 1st down situation. Now the officials marking it back. Cards are going to have that ball positioned at about their 32-yard line. What a big difference following that holding penalty. Cards looking to the sideline for the play call. Again, the Cards, one of the top-rated teams in the local area. Cleveland.com finding them rated number 2 just behind the Hudson Explorers. Jake Floria looking downfield, got a receiver in the middle of the field. Nice grab in traffic. Malik Porter bringing it down, finding a lane, pulling that ball down, moving the chains. The big receiver for the Cards making his presence felt with that grab in between two defensive backs for Shaker Heights. Going to be on the Shaker Heights side of the field now, too, the 42-yard line. 1st and 10. Let's do it again. 7:04 remaining in the first half. Jake Floria looking downfield. Got a receiver again. It's Alex Matthews on the grab. Good catch for about 5 yards. And again, every one of these Cardinals players, skill players as we call them, can really split time in the receiving mode or even running mode. Alex Matthews showing his skills receiving. You know, most of the time he's found himself rushing. Eddie Doherty, number 40, some running room, moving to the right side of the field. Late flag being thrown on the field as Eddie Doherty came close to that first down marker. It looked like to be about 1.5 yards shy of that first down. 6:24 remaining in the half. Again, as I was saying, these skill position players oh so dangerous for the Mentor Cardinals. You know, whether it be Malik Porter, Jason Blizzard, Eddie Doherty, Alex Matthews. A lot of weapons on offense for the Mentor Cardinals, as that's going to be a defensive penalty, moving the ball that much closer to the Shaker end zone. It's going to be inside the red zone there at about the 19-yard line on the Shaker side of the field. The Cardinals following that penalty by Shaker Heights, a face mask call by the officials. 1st and 10, let's do it again for the Cards. Jake Flory getting ready. 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Faking the ball to Alex Matthews, looking downfield. Got Malik Porter in the middle of the field for the end zone. Time to score. How about 6 more? Malik Porter, nice grab. 2 nice grabs on this drive. Really the big receiver showing his soft hands, grabbing that in the middle of the field and flushing it into the end zone for another score for the Cards. 20-0. The Cards going up by a 3-touchdown advantage. As senior kicker Tyler Thompson looking to put the 1-point capper on the score. 6:09 remaining in the first half of play. Nice find by Jake Floria, but real nice grab by Malik Porter as Tyler Thompson's going to finish that scoring drive off with the extra point attempt, hitting it. 21-0. The Cardinals at home on top of the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Exciting drive by the Mentor Cardinals, really capped by a couple big catches by Malik Porter, really making his presence felt this season. Again, Jake Flory with a lot of weapons to choose from, and one of his favorite targets on the season, obviously, Malik Porter last week against Brush, pulling down 3 receptions for 32 yards, 1 being a touchdown score. On the season, coming into this game, Malik Porter, 15 receptions for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns, adding to that total this game. 6:09 remaining in the first half of play. Cardinals with a 3-score advantage over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Shaker Heights coached by Jarvis Gibson, having a rough go in the early part of the season here, coming in with that 1-4 record. Really coming into the Jerome T. Osborne Stadium that Mentor calls home, facing a buzzsaw that's been on a real roll offensively and defensively the past 3 games after having that nail-biter, the victory over St. Ignatius in week number 2, where Mentor ended up winning in Byers Field in Parma but by a 37-33 advantage. The last 3 weeks, the Cardinals topping Euclid that first game at home, 49-0, beating up on Twinsburg 54-7, and then finally last week versus the Brush Arcs, putting through another shutout, 48-0. So in the last 3 games for the Cards, only giving up 7 points. So the defense has been very stingy, as well as the offense flourishing at the right time, as the Cardinals stuffing the Shaker Heights Red Raiders at about their own 18-yard line. Number 44, Mel Cantrell on the kicking reception for Shaker Heights, but Brady Crandall again getting in there on the special teams this time for a tackle for the Mentor Cardinals. Brady's getting his name called quite a bit this evening, the senior linebacker for the Cards, clocking in at 6 foot 220. Brady Crandall, strong showing this evening. It's going to be a 1st and 10 situation for quarterback Craig Robinson and the Shaker Heights Red Raiders tonight. from inside their own 20-yard line. Shaker Heights in that shotgun set. Robinson, 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Hand the ball off and being stuffed and pushed back by the Cards to about their own 10-yard line. Dwayne Likes not finding much room and being stuffed at the line of scrimmage, being pushed back by Brady Crandall again. Nico Lautinen getting in there as well for the Cards, but really stuffing the Red Raiders on that first down attempt. Inside 6 minutes to play in the first half. Flag on the play as the officials talk it over and add insult to injury. Shaker Heights getting called for a holding penalty on that play as well. Cardinals defense really plugging that hole right from the get-go, reading that play and stuffing the Red Raiders for a big stop, but then also the Red Raiders shooting themselves in the foot with a penalty as well. It's going to bring up a second down and 10 situation for the Red Raiders. Quarterback Craig Robinson for Shaker Heights again in that shotgun set. 3 receivers, once again to his right, 1 to his left. Flanked by a running back immediately to his left. Looking downfield, got a receiver open in the middle of the field. That's number 10, Terrence Colvin, the sophomore receiver for Shaker Heights. Brady Crandall getting in there again. Seems like we're calling his name every other play. Brady Crandall getting in there, and D'Angelo Levert sticking his nose in there on the defensive side for getting partial credit for that tackle as well. So some big defensive plays for the Cards. 3rd down and 5 for Shaker Heights. Inside 5.5 minutes to play in the first half of play. Cards up by the 3, touchdown advantage, 21-0 over Shaker Heights. Craig Robinson getting set up, and again having difficulty with the snap. Bouncing into his hands, looking downfield, and he's throwing. He had a receiver open, but picked off. They're going to say he did not handle that, but good defensive presence by the Cards. Craig Robinson making something out of nothing potentially after throwing the ball and finding a receiver for a flicker open downfield. But the Cards really getting in there on defense and doing a nice job on breaking it up and nearly picking it off. Going to bring up a 4th down and 5 situation. That was D'Angelo Levert again getting in there on a nice defensive play for the Cards. Calling his name very often this evening. 4th and 5 for Shaker Heights. They're going to be forced again into a kicking situation as Shaker Heights has a player down on the field being tended to at about the 40-yard line on the Cardinal side of the field by the training staff. Marcus Carthon, hopefully he's all right. Cardinals again next week are going to start getting into the real meat and potatoes of their schedule. Going to be facing off on the road this time versus the Brunswick Blue Devils, who are going to be facing off tomorrow night on October the 3rd on Friday versus Elyria. And a round of applause for Marcus Carthon, the Shaker Heights Red Raiders wide receiver who was hurt on that play, shaken up, but walking up on his own merit to the sideline. Good to see that. 5 minutes, 8 seconds remaining in the first half of play. The Cards with a 3-touchdown lead over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. 21-0 tonight on the Thursday night special. Right at the midfield for the Cardinals, waiting for the kickoff return, Eddie Doherty. And the Red Raiders getting set to kick. Eddie Doherty backing it up, calling for a fair catch at about his own 42-yard line. Going to bring up a 1st and 10 for the Cards offense, looking to put up some more points before the end of the first half here. 5:02 remaining on the board in the first half of play. The Cards 21-0 over Shaker Heights. Good field position once again for the Cardinals offense. Yeah, next week's going to bring on some tough competition, see how the Cardinals respond versus the Brunswick Blue Devils. Tough road game. Brunswick coming into this week with a 4-1 record. And then after that, the Cards facing 2 teams that are currently undefeated just like themselves. Solon Comets and Hudson Explorers. And then the final game of the season coming back at home versus Strongsville on Halloween night. And Strongsville, another tough team coming into this week, 4-1 on the season. Jake Floria The senior quarterback rolling to his right, finding receiver Eddie Doherty, number 40, spinning, doing his dance a couple times. Finding the lane, moving the chains on the Red Raiders side of the field. 1st and 10, we're going to do it again for the Cards. 4:53 remaining in the half. No huddle offense, as they always do. Jake Flory getting set. 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right, flanked by the 1 running back immediately to his right. Jake Florio looking to pass again. Got a receiver. Shy of the first down marker, but that's Jason Blizzard on a pass reception. Getting close to that first down marker, but just shy. Call it a couple yards short of that. 2nd down at 2. Or they're going to call it 2nd down and 1. Short yardage situation for the Cards. 4:25 remaining in the first half of play. Jake Florio quickly getting set. Going to give it to Alex Matthews. Like a wrecking ball, running through the defense, refusing to go down, but the ball breaks loose at about the 15-yard line. We'll see who ends up with possession. Alex Matthews pushing through that Red Raiders defense, bullying up on the opposition as he ran straight ahead. Finding a lane, moving the chains. 1st down for the Cards. At about the 15-yard line on the Red Raiders side of the field, inside that red zone. Cards hoping to put some more points on the board before the first half is up. 4:13 remaining in the first half tonight. The Thursday night special at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium, home of the Mentor Cardinals. 21-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Player down on the field being tended to. Actually, a couple players being looked at by the Red Raider training staff. Cardinals going to be going against Brunswick next week. Again, Brunswick going to be on the road versus Elyria. Solon also in the Cardinals division, tied with Mentor with a 5-0 record, facing off versus the Mayfield team that comes in with a pretty good record themselves, 4-1 on the season. And the Hudson Explorers, rated in some circles ahead of the Mentor Cardinals, such as in the computer points. Peeking at the points a little bit in the early going here. Hudson Explorers leading the pack with the computer points. Mentor Cardinals ranked 7th when you're looking at the computer points, but we'll look at some of the other comparisons for the Cardinals, where once again the News Herald top of the crop rates Mentor number 1 in the area. Cleveland.com finds Mentor number 2 behind Hudson. In the AP, Associated Press, Ohio poll has Mentor rated number 2 in Division 1. Behind Cincinnati Moeller and just ahead of the Hudson Explorers. Hudson going to be playing against the Mentor Cardinals in Hudson on October the 23rd, the second last regular season game. Hudson Explorers have a tough game this week as well against the 5-0 Stowe Monroe Falls squad. Touchdown Cardinals, rushing into the end zone. 4 minutes to go in the first half of play. 44, Alex Matthews. Time to score. How about 6 more? Putting the Cards up with a 27-point advantage. Tyler Thompson, number 22, looking to go out for the 1-point capper. Following that touchdown score for the Cards, Alex Matthews on a couple nice rushes here on this drive, putting the finishing touches on this drive with the touchdown score for the Cardinals. Tyler Thompson putting it up, putting it in between the goalposts. 28-0 is the advantage with 4 minutes to play versus the visiting Shaker Heights Red Raiders. Cards again at home with the big lead. Getting ever so close to that mercy rule. The Cards, if they end up having that 30-point advantage over Shaker Heights, would have that mercy rule inflicted in the second half of play, where we'd have a running play clock. Only thing that would stop it would be a timeout, change of possession, or the end of the period. And not without note, the defense again putting up another stellar effort too. No points being given up at this point on this now the 4th home game in a row for the Cards. Only have given up 1 touchdown score, that being against the Twinsburg Tigers in week number 4 of the season. As the Cards special team unit breaks the huddle, getting ready to kick off the Shaker Heights. 4 minutes remaining in the first half of play. 28 points for the Mentor Cardinals versus 0 on the board for the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. The Cardinals doing what they're supposed to do and beating up on this Shaker Heights team in the first half of play. And the Cards getting set to kick off. After that big score by Alex Matthews, big number 44, the junior running back for the Cardinals, following 3 rushing touchdowns last week versus the Brush Arcs, getting in the scoring column this night. Short kick for the Cards, recovered about the 20-yard line, getting close to the 30-yard line, popping on through, getting some positive yards there. Inside 4 minutes to play in the first half before being taken down by the Cards. Kenny Cook getting credit for the tackle on that play, as now the Cards have a player down on the field. Looks like D'Angelo Levert being tended to by the training staff of the Cards this time. 28-0, the Cards with the advantage. 4 scores on the night for the Cards. 28 points, 2 early touchdowns by Eddie Doherty in the first quarter of play. 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. Both long scores, and really Eddie Doherty flashing his speed and his skills on those 2 touchdowns. And Malik Porter with the nice touchdown grab, and finally this last touchdown score by Alex Matthews is D'Angelo Levert having himself a nice ball game in the first half on defense, being helped to the sideline by the training staff as Shaker Heights comes out for a 1st and 10. I hope D'Angelo is doing all right as he's assisted to the bench on the sideline. Craig Robinson, the quarterback for Shaker Heights, getting set in the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right, 2 receivers to his left, 1 running back behind him. And he's going to pitch it to the running back, number 44. That's Cantrell. Oh, looked like he was going to get stuffed. And the ball for grabs before being recovered by the Red Raiders. That thing was anybody's ball as it came pushing on through there. David Wright for Shaker Heights getting that ball, helping to move the chains for Red Raiders. Not the way they wanted to do it. It's Melvin Cantrell on a nice run before losing control of the ball, coughing it up. But luckily for Shaker Heights, they were able to retain possession. 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half of play. 28-0, the Cards with the advantage. Craig Robinson, 3 receivers on his right, 1 on the left. And that shotgun set again with the 1 running back behind him. Again, he's going to pitch it to him. Number 5 this time is Casimir Mitchell. Had himself a big run in that first quarter of play, getting about 5 yards before going out of bounds, close to midfield. 3:10 remaining in the first half. Going to bring up a 2nd down situation for Shaker Heights. Kenny Cook getting credit for the tackle for the Cards. And it is going to get marked on the Cardinal side of the field. The 49-yard line is where the ball ends up getting spotted. D'Angelo Levert still getting looked at on the side by the training staff. Hopefully everything's okay with him. Again, having a very strong night. Seemed like every other play we heard either his name or Brady Crandall's name getting called so far in the first half for the Cardinals defense. Again, pitching a shutout this evening. 3 minutes, and it's going to number 44. We're being taken down. That's Melvin Cantrell for Shaker Heights. Getting back to about the line of scrimmage. Big Trevor Morrison on the takedown, the senior defensive lineman. And also J.D. Matsko, the senior linebacker, getting in there, comboing up for that tackle. 2:45 remaining in the first half of play. The Cards 28-0 over Shaker Heights. And that's actually going to push the ball back to about the 49 on the Shaker side of the field. 3rd and 7 is going to be the call on this play. Big 3rd down situation for Shaker. Cardinals defense being stingy here at home. See if they can stop this 3rd down situation. A lot of pressure and picked off by the Cards. And he could go scampering down the sidelines in there for the touchdown. Mark Walton, senior defensive back for the Cards with the pick 6. There is a flag on the field, but nice athletic grab by the defensive back for the Cards, who goes sprinting up the sidelines 50 yards into the end zone for the score. the defense getting in on that scoring mix for the Cards tonight. See what the flag is on the play. Mark Walton, nice grab on the defensive side of the play and just keeping himself in bounds as he outran Shaker Heights into the end zone for the Cardinals score. No points being put on the board right now as the officials talking about it, but on the sideline, number 7, Mark Walton celebrating Trevor Morrison and the rest of the defense running up to him and congratulating him on a fantastic play. That's a personal foul on Shaker Heights. So that score is going to count. It's going to push the lead up to 34-0 for the Cardinals over Shaker Heights. Mark Walton, very athletic play. Nice catch and grab on the INT and keeping himself in bounds as he sped up and sprinted into the end zone for the pick 6 for the Cards. Tyler Thompson trying to get the 1 point extra point capper for the Cards. 2:10 remaining in the first half of play. Cards 34-0, looking to add to that lead. And Tyler Thompson once again putting it up, putting it through. 35-0, the Mentor Cardinals at home with the big lead once again. First half of play, 2:10 still remaining on the board. 0 points for Shaker Heights. Another shutout in the first half of play for the Cards. It's been a common theme here at home for the Mentor Cardinals in 2014. Cards averaging 47 points a game on the season, but especially in these past 3 weeks at home, being very, very stingy on defense, only giving up that 1 score so far at home on the season, a touchdown late in the game versus the Twinsburg Tigers. Mentor getting set to kick back over to Shaker Heights. And again, that was a personal foul against Shaker Heights on that pick 6, that interception, returned back for a touchdown by the Cardinals, Mark Walton. So the Cards are going to be kicking from a very advantageous position on the 45-yard line. Very unusual to see on the opposition side of the field. So from Shaker Heights' 45-yard line, Tyler Thompson is going to be kicking it over to Shaker. .210 remaining in the first half of play. The Cards with a 35-point advantage, 35-0 over Shaker Heights. Melvin Cantrell, number 44, is set to return. Flanked along with a couple other Red Raiders too. And that's going to go into the end zone, so it's going to be a touchback, bringing the ball up to the 20-yard line for Shaker Heights. It's the Cardinal defense again coming back onto the field and coming out with a little more swagger and momentum following that interception by Mark Walton. And the Cardinals defense shining here again tonight. Brady Crandall, D'Angelo Levert, Trevor Morrison, Billy Hudson, some of the names have been calling often here in the first half of play, and Mark Walton getting in there in the mix, the senior defensive back for the Cards, showing up big on that last defensive play for the Cards with the INT right at midfield and showing his running ability as he had a burst up the sideline into the end zone for the touchdown. It's going to be a switch at the quarterback position for Shaker Heights. E.J. Barksdale Jr., the junior quarterback. That's a mouthful. As the Cardinals stuff the ball right at the line of scrimmage. Not much going for Shaker Heights as we come inside 2 minutes to play in the first half. Men are up 35-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. That was Kashmir Mitchell Jr., the senior running back for the Red Raiders. Brady Crandall again sticking his nose in there, getting credit for the tackle on defense for Mentor. Right back up to the line of scrimmage, so it's going to bring a 2nd down and 10 situation as we come back out onto the field, but there is a timeout at this point. Mentor Cardinals at home on this very nice warm night here, October the 2nd. 71 degrees at game time as we get a little bit breezy right now, but still feels very nice out here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium. The Menor Cardinals enjoying the fine home confines here since returning home after being on the road the first 2 weeks of the season. Game number 1, Menor beat up on Boardman 48-14. Second week of the season, really the only game that was close this year versus the St. Ignatius Wildcats, as Menor ended up winning that game by only 4 points, 37-33, but coming home here versus Euclid winning 49-0, versus Twinsburg 54-7, and last week versus Brush 48-0. A minute 55 remaining in the first half of play. The Cardinals on defense again, in a run by Dwayne Likes, who gets about 5 yards with a bit of a burst before being stopped at about the 26-yard line. It's going to bring up a third down situation. We'll call it 3rd and 5 for Shaker Heights. Big third down play. Shaker Heights going to the sideline. He's going to talk it over. Going to call it 3rd and 4, but still a big third down play for Shaker Heights. If they want to try to make anything out of this game, they really want to try to do something here with the minute 41 remaining in the first half. 35-point advantage for the Cardinals, so if we remain with at least this much of a deficit, that mercy rule again will be in effect in the second half of play with the running play clock throughout the duration. Cards getting set up on defense as Shaker Heights breaks the huddle, getting set to call their play on a big 3rd down and 4 situation from their own 26-yard line. As the officials looking to add 5 more seconds onto that clock. 1:46 getting back up on the scoreboard. 35-0. Menor Cardinals at home with a big advantage over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Shaker Heights, 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Looking downfield, going deep. A lot of pressure by the defense. That ball was up for grabs. Intended for number 9, David Wright. Again, number 7, Mark Walton getting in there and on the defensive side, getting his hands on the ball. Going to be a flag on the play. And they're going to call that against the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. Holding on the offense. Coach Trevisano is going to decline that. It's going to force a 4th and 4 situation. Going to have Shaker Heights bringing their special teams unit back out onto the field to kick it back over to the Cards. Eddie Doherty, number 40, getting set up at his own 50-yard line. Minute 40 remaining in the half. The Cards up 35-0. Looking to add on for some more points before the first half winds down. Eddie Doherty already with a rushing touchdown tonight, a receiving touchdown tonight. Would love to add a special teams touchdown to his repertoire tonight. Getting set from his own 50-yard line. Wild on the snap. Lucky to get that one off, but it takes the Red Raiders bounce as it goes down to about the 32-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. Cardinals getting set to come out for a 1st and 10 with a minute 28 remaining in the first half of play. Jake Floria and the offensive squad getting set to huddle up right now to decide what they're going to do. Menor with that quick play, quick score offensive potential, can score it on any play. Minute 28's a lot of time left on the clock. Even with that 35-point advantage, always looking to put more points up on the board. I'm sure in the second half of play, probably an opportunity again for Coach Triv to get some other players in the mix and get some reps out there. Last week, 4 quarterbacks got time in there. 3 of them in the second half of play alone. Dangerous pass by Jake Floria. Lucky that one didn't get picked off. Trying to pass it to Jason Blizzard, but Shaker Heights, Mel Cantrell getting in there, nearly picking it off, and he would have had some room to run if he would have got his hands and grappled that interception in place, but luckily it goes as an incompletion for Jake Floria. 2nd down and 10 for the Cardinals. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, looking to pass. Quarterback keeping it though, running out of bounds, close to a late hit out of bounds. About a 5-yard run by Jake Floria. Stopping that clock with a minute 16 remaining in the first half of play. Going to bring up a 3rd and 6 situation for Menor. That 35-point advantage. from their own 36-yard line. Jake Floria, that no huddle, quickly getting his team set up on offense. 3 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. Jake Floria looking downfield, got a receiver open, but running before he caught that ball is number 40, Eddie Doherty. And another rare occasion for the Cardinals. They will not be going for it on 4th down. They're going to be kicking it back to the Red Raiders of Shaker, as it appears, as the special teams unit getting on the field right now with the minute 12 remaining in the first half of play. 35-0, the Cards with the big lead at home once again this week. Eddie Doherty, if he would have brought in that reception as he normally would have had some running room and definitely would have had that first down and much, much more. As the Cards get set to kick, Mel Cantrell getting set to receive that punt at about his own 30-yard line. And the punt is up, and it's a good one. To about the 31-yard line. Takes a bit of a Shaker Heights bounce, but it goes out of bounds at about the 31-yard line on Shaker's side of the field. A minute 4 remaining in the first half. Cardinals up by a 5-touchdown advantage, 35-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Cardinals getting set on defense, and the defense putting some points on the board this evening with number 7 Mark Walton on that interception. The most recent score for the Cardinals as he ran up the sideline, showing his speed, showing his hands on that interception, but running past the Red Raiders into the end zone. Cards again wanting to keep a shutout intact here. It's the defense's motivation with a minute 4 remaining in the first half of play. Right now we stand to have the mercy rule going on in the second half as the ball is handed off, but read quickly by the Cardinal defense. Again, Brady Crandall looks like he got in there on the tackle for the Cards. And also number 45 got in there too, Pete Kunka, as well as Brady Crandall. 45 seconds remaining in the first half of play. 2nd down and 11 for Shaker Heights. Cards with the 35-point lead. Shaker Heights huddling it up. Going to talk it over as that clock continues to wind itself down to 30 seconds remaining in the first half of play. Shaker Heights, 2 receivers to the right, one to the left. Quarterback in that shotgun set, flanked with a running back immediately to his right, one to his left. And he's going to hand that ball off to number 3. That's Dwayne Likes with some positive running room, getting close to that first down marker. Going to be a couple yards shy, but a nice run nonetheless by Shaker Heights at about the 41-yard line on the Shaker Heights side of the field as the game clock winds down. It is halftime here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium in Mentor, Ohio. The Cardinals at home for the 4th week in a row, and the 4th week in a row with a big advantage, 35-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Pete Stark, Cardinal TV. Enjoy the halftime before we come out for the second half of the game. Coming up on the end of halftime as we approach the second half of play here. Mentor Cardinals once again with a big advantage at home, 35-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Some statistics here from halftime. Rushing for the Cardinals in the first half found Alex Matthews on 5 attempts, 44 yards total, averaging 8.8 yards per carry, 1 touchdown, rushing in the first half of play. Eddie Doherty, 4 rushing attempts for 59 yards, leading the Cardinal rushing attack in that first half, averaging 14 yards a carry. The big one being the 52-yard touchdown run, which found Eddie Doherty sprinting through the Shaker Heights defense for that touchdown score. Jake Floria also rushing the ball 3 times for 19 yards, averaging 6.3 yards a carry, his long being 11 yards. Jake Floria passing in the first half, 11 of 16 for 176 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, his long being 52 yards. Passing by the Cardinals in that first half of play, leading the way. Malik Porter, 4 catches for 83 yards, a big touchdown score, along of 29 and averaging over 20 yards of reception. Eddie Doherty receiving in that first half of play, 4 catches for 79 yards, one being a touchdown as well, that 52-yard touchdown reception, averaging over 19 yards, almost 20 yards per reception. Eddie Doherty, number 40, in that first half of play. Jason Blizzard also with 2 catches in the first half for 12 yards. His long being 8 and averaging 6 yards a catch. Had a real nice one-handed circus grab on the sideline as well that appeared like he had a big reception for the Cards. It was called incomplete, saying by the officials that he had stepped out of bounds. The crowd and actually myself thought otherwise, but went as an incomplete pass nonetheless. Alex Matthews rounding out the pass receiving for the Cardinals in the first half of play for 1 catch for 2 yards. Punting in the first half of note, Mark Edwards had 1 punt for 31 yards, but Jake Floria, the quarterback, also had a punt attempt in that first half of play. As the second half kickoff in play as the Cards, the host, the Cardinal defenders, pushing the Red Raiders back to about the 10-yard line on the Shaker Heights side of the field. Running play clock here in the second half of play. As a reminder, as we have the mercy rule once again for this would be the 5th time in 6 games this year. The only game the Cardinals did not put the mercy rule in effect on their opposition was week number 2 against St. Ignatius as they played at Byers Field in Parma. Cards winning by 4 points, but all the other games so far this year in the second half of play, if a team has the opposition down by over 30 points in the second half of play, that game clock continues to run unless being stopped by a timeout, change of possession, or the end of the period. So once again here with the Cardinals up 35-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights, the mercy rule is in effect. So Shaker Heights 1st and 10. They're going to run the ball as they found some success running the ball in the first half of play, that being Casimir Mitchell Jr., the senior running back for the Red Raiders, getting the carry here to open up the second half. Inside 11 minutes to play in the third quarter. It's going to be a 2nd down and 5 for Shaker Heights. Men are up by the 35-point advantage. Shaker Heights offense in the huddle is number 12 being the quarterback for Shaker Heights right now, E.J. Barksdale Jr., the junior quarterback, mixing a number of different duties for the Shaker Heights squad. Also, when he's not in there at quarterback, as he is not the starter, gets some time at tight end, and on the defensive side is a defensive end as well. Barksdale in there at quarterback because the starting quarterback, Craig Robinson, ended up receiving a personal foul in the first half of the play and was removed from the game, and due to that personal foul is going to end up missing 2 games per the OHSAA rules on the extent of the personal foul that he was assessed against Menor in the first half of play. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. 3rd down and 5 for Shaker Heights. Clock continues to run as Shaker Heights lines up with 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left in a shotgun set. 1 running back immediately to the left of the quarterback. His quarterback looking to pass to his receiver to the left. The all-hands team getting the hands on the ball for the Cards. Breaking up that passing attempt, incomplete. Malik Hayes, the intended receiver, before it went incomplete by Barksdale. 15 getting in there, Brendan Parker, the senior cornerback for the Cards, making a nice play on defense, getting his hands on the ball, breaking up that passing attempt, bringing up a 4th down and 5 for Shaker Heights. Eddie Doherty lining up at about the 45-yard line on the Shaker Heights side of the field. Going to be good field position again for the Cardinal offense. 9 minutes in winding down, remaining in the third quarter of play, is no pressure on the Shaker Heights punter, and the ball bounces near midfield, taking the Shaker Heights bounce and roll down to about the 45-yard line on the Cardinal side of the field. Look to see who Coach Trevisano puts out there at the quarterback position. As we know, the past few weeks, the Cardinals in the second half, with the big advantages, have been mixing in and rotating that quarterback position as well as the other positions, as that big lead has afforded the ability to do that. But it looks like number 10, Jake Floria, the starting QB, and the other starting players on the offensive side are going to be trotting out on the field for this 1st and 10. 8:45 remaining in the third quarter play. The Cardinals, Menor once again with the big advantage at home, 35-0, up on the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker. Floria looking downfield. Dangerous pass intended for Jarrell Jackson, number 3. It's going to be incomplete. Clock winding down, 8:25 and counting. Second down and 10 for the Cardinals. Again, breaking down some of the first quarter statistics for the Cards, the scoring summary in the first half of play. The first quarter, the Cardinals putting 14 points on the board, both by Eddie Doherty. There's Jake Flory on this play, second down and 10. Looking downfield again for Jarrell Jackson. Some running room, the 40, the 35 to the 30. Onto the Shaker Heights side of the field. Jarrell Jackson getting in the mix, finding a lane, moving the chains. First and 10, we're going to do it again for the Cards, 7:50 and counting in the third quarter of play. The Cards on the move. Quickly getting set up here in a shotgun, no huddle. Three receivers to the left, two to his right. Flory looking downfield's got his receiver. And an incompletion intended for 44, looked like Alex Matthews. It's going to bring up a second down and 10 situation for the Cards. Again, going over the scoring summary in the first half. And that first quarter with 7:36 remaining in the first quarter play. Eddie Doherty with that rushing touchdown for 52 yards. Followed that up with 4:52 remaining in the first quarter. Jake Flory passing to Eddie Doherty for another 52-yard touchdown. This time a reception as Jake Flory looking to pass again. He's got a receiver in the open in the end zone. Malik Porter batted away by the Red Raiders defender. Malik Porter had a step, but the pass came up short. It's going to bring up a third down and 10 for the Mentor Cardinals. Terrence Colvin on the defensive play for the Red Raiders, getting his hands on the ball, breaking up that pass attempt. 6:40 in the third quarter play. The clock continues to wind down, and this making these second halves go by oh so quick with the Cards with a big advantage. Jake Flory getting out there. And that shotgun set, two receivers to his left, two to his right. Looking downfield to pass once again, but he may end up keeping us. He's got some running room to 25, to the 20, to the 15, to 10. He's gone! Time to score! How about six more? Jake Flory saying I'm going to score on you, and he does. The quarterback for the Cards on the keeper, sprinting into the end zone. Looked like he was initially trying to find a receiver to pass to, did not find anyone. Tucked the ball in and found an opening, and found the end zone as well. The Cardinals now up 41-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. 6:13 remaining in the third quarter of play. Jake Flory showing that speed and good decision-making ability. Did not find a receiver open, just took it in himself. And the Cards with the score. The 1 point good on the extra point attempt. 42-0 over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker. The Cards with the big lead and a big score to start out the second half of play. Jake Flory just doing it himself, taking matters into his own hands with the quarterback keeper running into the end zone for the score. Again, with the scoring summary in the first half, we recapped Eddie Doherty with the two touchdowns of 52 yards, one rushing and one through the air. 14 points in that first quarter. The second quarter of play accounting for 21 points. The Mentor Cardinals, 6:09 remaining in that second quarter play. Jake Flory found Malik Porter for a 19-yard touchdown. 4 minutes to go in the first half of play. Alex Matthews pounded it in for a 15-yard rushing score. And then finally the last score in the first half found a Craig Robinson pass being intercepted by Mark Walton for the pick six with 2:10 remaining in that first half of play. So the Cards walking into halftime with a 35-point advantage and scoring quickly here in the second half of play. Jake Flory taking matters into his own hands. The quarterback actually getting to play in the second half a little bit this week after the past couple weeks with the big leads. Deferring in the second half to some of the underclassmen, this time getting the opportunity. Maybe it's Coach Triv trying to get the starters a little bit more reps because he knows it's going to be 4 tough games coming up here in the next few weeks. Again, the Cardinals next week are going to be on the road after enjoying the long 4-game homestand. They're going to be at Brunswick Automart Stadium on Friday, October the 10th versus the now 4-1 Brunswick Blue Devils, and doesn't get any easier after that as they come back home in the week following versus the currently undefeated 5-0 Solon Comets right here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium in Mentor. Week after that, once again, tough competition. 5-0 Hudson Explorers. They're going to be on the road. The Cardinals are Thursday, October the 23rd at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Hudson before coming back home for the final home game of the regular season versus the Strongsville Mustangs, who come into this weekend with a 4-1 record. So a lot of tough games coming up for the Cards, so they want to try to keep some of the momentum going here and get their starters some more reps. As the defense getting in there, looked like Michael Ballantyne getting in there on the tackle for the Cards. 5.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. 2nd down and 9 for Shaker Heights. 42-0, the Cards once again with the big lead versus the opposition. As the Red Raiders huddling it up, talking about this 2nd down and 9 play that they want to bring up against the Cardinal defense, who again pitching a shutout 5 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. 42-0 over the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. And the defense sniffing at all along. J.D. Matsko with the takedown, number 32 for the Cards. Dwayne Likes on the carry, not finding much rushing room at all. Going to bring up a 3rd down and long for the Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. Going to be a 3rd and 12. 4.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. Big 3rd down and 12 situation for the Red Raiders. Long way to go to get back in this game. The mercy rule once again in full effect. 42-0. Cards with the big advantage. And we'll see when the Cards get the ball back here in the second half. If Jake Fleury remains out there, if Coach Triv does want to continue to get his starters with some more minutes, as the Cards breaking it up again on defense. Big 3rd down play by the Cardinals D. Number 9, the intended receiver, David Wright. E.J. Barksdale looking for him, but not finding him on the incompletion. Going to call Michael Ballantyne's name again on the defensive side for the Cards, breaking up that pass. 4th and 12 for Shaker Heights. Special teams unit coming on the field, going to punt the ball over to the Cards. Eddie Doherty lining up on the Shaker Heights side of the field at about the 48-yard line. 3:40 remaining in the third quarter play. The Cardinals up big over the Red Raiders, 42-0. Eddie Doherty already with one punt return for a touchdown on the season and would love to have another one. One rushing touchdown of 52 yards tonight. One receiving touchdown of 52 yards tonight. And Eddie Doherty having trouble receiving that punt again. He did fumble one in the first half of play, and it ended up turning the ball over to the Red Raiders, but this time was able to fall on the ball and retain possession for the Cardinals, as the offense looking to come out on the field again with fantastic field position. The big lead, and Jake Floria and the other starters for this Cardinals offense appear to be coming back out for this drive. 3:16 remaining in the third quarter of play. The Cardinals up big, 42-0 here at home, Jerome T. Osborne Stadium. Again, nice weather here tonight and a nice turnout as the student section dressed in pink tonight. Every week they have a different theme that they put on and decide to dress in unison, and tonight the student section in the pink shirts. 250 and counting here. It is the Cardinals finding some positive yards. Jarrell Jackson on the reception from Jake Floria. Going to bring up a 2nd down and 5 situation for the Cards. 2.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. Jarrell Jackson with a couple nice receptions already this evening. Jake Floria getting set in the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Alex Matthews thundering ahead for a couple yards, but putting a beat down on the defensive side of the Red Raiders, pounding ahead for a couple yards. Going to bring up a 3rd down and 2 situation for the Cards. 2:10 and counting in the third quarter play. Cards with a big 42-point advantage. 35 points put up in the first half of play, bringing on the mercy rule in effect in the second half here. Cardinals already with 1 score in the second half, as quarterback Jake Floria getting some unfamiliar repetitions here at home in the second half of play with a big lead, rushing for a quarterback keeper score, showing his foot speed and getting into the end zone on that last Cardinals drive. As there is another injured player on the field tonight, there's been a number of occasions where on both sides the training staffs had to go out and tend to different players. This time it's a Red Raiders player down on the field. So we wish him luck. Hopefully he gets back up shortly here. 2:05 remaining in the third quarter play. The Cards up 42-0. Again, that first half of play, the Cards 35 points on the board. 4 touchdowns being scored by the offense. 2 by Eddie Doherty in that first quarter. 1 on the ground, 1 in the air. Second quarter play, Jake Floria found Malik Porter for a 19-yard score through the air. Alex Matthews in the second quarter as well for a 15-yard touchdown run. And then to cap off the scoring output in the first half of play, the defense, not to be outdone by the offense. Mark Walton on a nice INT running into the end zone for a pick 6 for the Cards. And again, now in the second half of play, Jake Floria still in the game, but already got 7 points on the board in the second half as he had a quarterback keeper where he was looking down the field, couldn't find a receiver, and ended up deciding just to take it himself as he sprinted into the end zone for the long rushing touchdown for the Cards. Inside 2 minutes of play in the third quarter, Eddie Doherty in motion, and he's going to get his quarterback keeper to 35 to 30 to 25 to 20. He's gone 15-10. 4 touchdown, Jake Floria. Back-to-back rushing touchdowns for the quarterback. Time to score. How about 6 more? Jake Floria. The big touchdown scamper into the end zone, keeping it himself again, showing his speed. 48-0 for the Cards over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker with 1:45 remaining in the third. Cards going to try to cap it with an extra point, but a big rushing score for the Cardinals here at home. Jake Floria, the senior QB for the Cards, twice in a row now, keeping himself and running into the end zone, beating that Shaker Heights Red Raider defense, showing his foot speed, taking it down the sideline into the end zone for the Cards. 49-0, that extra point capper is good. Almost a 50-point lead for the Cards, one shy at 49-0, equaling their score against Euclid from a couple weeks ago as they beat Euclid Panthers 49-0. Right now that's the score on the board, 49-0 versus Shaker Heights with still a lot of time left to go. 1:45 remaining in the third quarter of play. Fourth quarter still yet to go. And Coach Trevisano keeping the starting squad in there on the offensive side, probably in preparation to keep this team rolling, finely tuned for the big games that are coming up over the next month of the regular season. Again, as they play Brunswick, then Solon, Hudson, and Strongsville. Some other of the toughest teams in the area after playing some of the weaker teams in Northeastern Ohio the last few weeks, but doing what they're supposed to do is taking out the competition and putting up a lot of points and not giving up points. So, again, on this 4-game homestand to this point, only one of the 4 teams they've faced here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium has even put points on the board. That was Twinsburg Tigers late in the game when Mentor won 54-7. Twinsburg did get a touchdown score, but other than that, no points against the Euclid Panthers. And the Brush Arcs last week did not put up any points versus the Cardinals. And again this week, Shaker Heights unable to muster any points to this point. It's a nice kickoff by the Cardinals as the defense causing a fumble, and they're going to go to the end zone, picking it up, bringing it in. And the referee may be calling them down. They're going to say that Red Raiders were down. It appeared that it may have been a fumble coughed up and recovered for the Cards for another score, but they're going to say it's going to remain Red Raider ball, and that the Shaker Heights player did retain possession and was down. So with 1:21 remaining in the third quarter of play, the Mentor Cardinals at home again, 49-0, up over Shaker Heights. Mentor not showing much hospitality here as Shaker Heights visiting the Jerome T. Osborne newly renovated stadium here in 2014. 1st and 10 for Shaker. Inside a minute to play here to go. In a shotgun set, they're going to pitch it back to the running back who's got some room, and he's got some real estate in front of him, and he may be gone. The 30, the 20, and stopped just before getting it to the end zone at about the 5-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. It appeared that he was well on his way into the end zone. That was Dwayne Likes the senior running back for the Red Raiders, Logan Shea, tripping him up just shy of the end zone. But in the red zone on the Cardinals side of the field, 25 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Shaker Heights primed and ready to score some points for the first time tonight. Fantastic field position following that long run by Dwayne Likes, the senior running back. I think everybody in the stadium thought he was well on his way to a score for Shaker Heights before being tripped up by the Cardinals, who, credit to their defense, didn't give up on the play, and Logan Shea getting in there and stopping him just shy of the end zone at about the Cardinal 5-yard line, as there is a end of the third quarter as the clock winds itself down. Getting a mercy rule in effect because the Cardinals do have a greater than 30-point advantage over Shaker Heights. 49 points for the Cardinals here at home versus Shaker Heights, who have not scored any points. It's a shutout for the Cards defense. And looking to tighten up here as Shaker Heights is going to be coming out to begin the fourth quarter of play with a first and goal-to-goal situation on the 5-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. Cardinals again on offense, racking up a lot of yards and for the most part being stingy on defense, not giving up a lot and not giving up any points. So 12 minutes to go in the game. Fourth quarter coming up here. 1st and 5 is it's a goal-to-goal situation for the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. 49-0 is the score. Menor Cardinals well on top and in command and in control of this game versus Shaker Heights. Beautiful night here in Menor, Ohio. Game time temperature 71 degrees, and it hasn't really dropped off all that much from there, and even getting some nice breeze coming into press box here as the game has gone on. Nice crowd on hand with it being a Thursday night here, kind of an odd game day for the Cardinals here as we customarily play on a Friday night, but we'll take it as the weather's supposed to take a turn for the worse tomorrow night as the Red Raiders pitching the ball out to the side, and the Cardinals defense again doing the best they can trip up Shaker Heights. It looked like they had them down, but whistle didn't sound like it was ever blown, so Shaker Heights continued on with the play. As the referees are going to talk it over here, it looks like they're going to be spotting the ball inside the 5-yard line at about the 3-yard line, which is where it appeared that the running back was initially down. But I take that back. They are going to call that a touchdown. A couple conflicting referee decisions there, but the one referee who signaled the touchdown score was overruling the others who said that it wasn't. So there are points on the board for the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. 6 points as they missed the extra point capper. So it's going to be 49-6. The Cardinals giving up a touchdown score to Shaker Heights here as we began the fourth quarter of play. 11:32 remaining in the game. Shaker Heights getting some points on the board as on a strange play. It looked like the Cardinals had Shaker Heights down shy of the goal line, but the play never blown dead, and Shaker Heights was never down, and they continued on into the end zone for the score. So they look to kick off for the first time tonight following a score for the Red Raiders. Giving it back to the Cardinals as we get set to kick off. Some stats to the game through the third quarter of play. As we would figure with the score being what it is, decisively in favor of the Menor Cardinals. 15 first down plays for the Cardinals through 3 quarters, only 3 for Shaker Heights. Rushing yards for the Cardinals, 192 yards versus 155 for the Shaker Heights Red Raiders, and a lot of that coming on the one big run by Dwayne Likes at the end of the third quarter of play. Total yards for the Cards through 3 quarters of play is just shy of 400, 399 yards versus 163 for Shaker Heights. 11.1 average yards gained per play for the Cardinals through 3 quarters and only 4 for Shaker Heights as the officials blow that play dead. Looks like there may be a re-kick here with 11:32 to go in the game. The Cards up 49-6 over Shaker Heights. No flags on the field, but the referee surely did blow the whistle, blowing that play dead. Going back to some statistics, time of possession in favor pretty big at the hands of Shaker Heights in the 24 minutes 13 seconds for Shaker Heights, 11:47 only for the Mentor Cardinals, but we all know that's the Cardinals with that quick score capabilities they have on offense don't really waste a lot of time as they go down the field with that no-huddle offense. 11 and a half minutes to go in the game. Cards still out front with that big advantage, though. Shaker Heights coming off their first points of the game as they just scored a touchdown, 49-6. Cards over the Red Raiders here tonight. Thursday night special game on October the 2nd. Game number 6 on the season. Is number 15 for the Cards as Brendan Parker looking to run the ball out to the 20. Still moving to 30, the 35. Still going up to midfield, refusing to go down on the Red Raiders side of the field to about the 47-yard line. Brendan Parker pushing through that Red Raider defense, did not want to get down, but the referees are going to call holding on the Cardinals on that run back. So it is going to bring that ball back, but got to appreciate that run back by Brendan Parker as he showed some speed and some power, dragging some Red Raiders defenders with him before finally going down, but they are going to move that ball back. So instead of being on the Red Raiders side of the field, they're going to be pushing that ball back all the way to the 12-yard line on the Mentor side. So for one of the few times this evening, the Cardinals with not very good field position on their own side of the field. Manning Trubisky is going to be taking over the quarterbacking duties, the sophomore QB for the Cards. Had himself a nice game last week, connecting on all 3 of his pass attempts and having a touchdown pass as well as number 28, Isaiah Gulick, getting in the mix here with a rush for the Cards. As Coach Tribb appears in the fourth quarter of play that he's going to mix up the roster a little bit and get some playing time to some of the non-starters and some of the underclassmen here with inside 11 minutes to play in the game. 49-6, the Mentor Cardinals on top of the visiting Shaker Heights Red Raiders as another penalty flag gets thrown on the field. Turning on to quite a bit of penalties coming in this game here. It's going to be encroachment on the defense, so the Cardinals are going to get better field position here as the referees spot the ball at about the 29-yard line on Mentor's side of the field. 10:25 remaining in the game. The Cards up 49-6. Again, change at the quarterback position. Manning Trubisky as the Cardinals going to rush the ball that time. 28 again, Isaiah Gulick, who's been doing a decent job here in the second half of these home games with the Cardinals with a big advantage. The sophomore running back enjoying the repetitions he's getting and having some success here. 2nd down and 6 for the Cards. Manning Trubisky at the helm in the shotgun set. And he's going to give it again to Isaiah Gulick, running straight ahead for a couple yards once again. Keeping on the ground, the Cardinals. 9:42 remaining in the game. 49-6 with the big advantage. Play clock continues to run down. The game clock, I should say, with the mercy rule, with the Cards over a 30-point advantage. The new rule this year in OHSAA. State of Ohio decided to implement the mercy rule, as they call it, where the team is up by over 30 points over the visiting or the opposing team. If they have an advantage of over 30 points, they're going to go ahead and have a running game clock in the second half of play. And Isaiah Gulick pushing straight ahead, keeping it on the ground, finding a lane, moving the chains for the Cards. 9 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the game here. 49-6. Cardinals enjoying the very big advantage. Manning Trubisky, shotgun set, 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Isaiah Gulick went in motion, but had difficulty handling that snap, did Manning Trubisky, as he falls on the ball, and it's going to end up going down for a big loss for the Cardinals offense. Going to bring it up to a 2nd down and 16. They're going to mark the ball at about the 30-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. 8.5 minutes remaining in the game. Trubisky and the rest of the offense looking to the sideline for that play call. Again, with that no huddle, looking to that sideline, trying to figure out which play it is they're going to go with on 2nd down and 16. Trubisky rolling to his left, having a receiver, pulling it in. Jeremy McClure, the sophomore receiver for the Cardinals, on a reception. 8:10 remaining in the game. It's going to be a third down and long situation. 3rd and 16. They're going to say that McClure just got back to got just past the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a 3rd down and long. 3rd and 10 for the Cards. 7:55 remaining in the game. 3 receivers to the right for Trubisky, 1 to his left. Looking downfield, nobody there to find, though, as that ball drops incomplete. Closest receiver was Zach Sparacia, number 14, the senior wide receiver for the Cardinals, but wasn't really close to him as that ball dropped incomplete. Cardinals offense going to stay on the field, though. 4th down and 10. Well, and here comes the special teams. Coach Triv thought better of it with 4th and 10, and being on his side of the field with 7.5 minutes remaining in the game, you're going to kick it back over to the Red Raiders on this punt. Cardinals had 2 punts in the first half of play, one being done by quarterback Jake Floria as he surprised the defense as it looked like they were going to be going for it on a 4th down play, but he dropped back and did a surprise punt. This time the Cards, 4th down, going to punt it away to Shaker Heights, and the ball's going to take a Shaker bounce, go out of bounds, but it went about the 44-yard line on Shaker's side of the field, so the Red Raiders going to end up with pretty good field position here, but maybe a too little, too late situation as they find themselves down by a pretty big deficit, 49-6. The advantage for the Mentor Cardinals at home here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium. 6:53 remaining in the game. Final home game of this 4-game homestand for the Cards. Next week going on the road versus Brunswick. And the Cards look like they're primed and ready to roll. They have all the momentum in the world after knowing that they beat one of the top teams in the area versus St. Ignatius in week number 2. They haven't let any of the other teams that they've faced since that game number 2 victory, haven't let anybody in their way as they've steamrolled through the competition. 2 shutouts, one versus Euclid, one versus Brush, and big victory over Twinsburg in between those 2 shutouts. Not a shutout tonight, but they came close, but it's a big, decisive advantage for the Cards to this point. It seemed to be well on their way to victory number 6 on the season, 6-6, as they should remain undefeated here going against Brunswick next week. Again, some of the statistics through the first 3 quarters of play where the Cardinals found their first team in there through all 3 of those quarters. Alex Matthews, 6 rushing attempts for 47 yards, averaging 7.8 yards a carry, one of them being a rushing touchdown. Jake Floria, the quarterback here in the second half, 2 big rushing touchdowns, a long of 41 yards. Flory, the starting quarterback for the Cards, 5 rushing attempts for 89 yards, averaging 17.8 yards a rush, showing his strong speed. Shaker Heights getting set, 1st and 10, 6:12 remaining in the game. Going to hand off. They're going to release, and a flea flicker wide open, and they're going to run that. Nice play for the Red Raiders. Marcus Carthon getting into the end zone. And this is the most points in a game given up by the Cardinals since week number 2 versus St. Ignatius, be it only 12 points at this point. Still, most points they've given up since week number 2. 49-12 is the score on a trick play by Shaker Heights as they had their receiver wide open going down the field as the Cardinals were expecting to run on that play. A little bit of trickery by Shaker Heights. Looks like they're going to line up to go for 2 following that touchdown score as well. Shaker Heights, 12 points on the board. Got a receiver, but it's going to be shy of the end zone, so that 12 points is going to remain on the board for Shaker Heights. 49-12. Cardinals still with a big advantage over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker Heights. But a nice trick play on that first down for Shaker to begin that scoring drive, catching the Cardinals off guard, not expecting that play, finding their man wide open. Quarterback E.J. Barksdale Jr. hooking up with Marcus Carthon for the big score. 6:01 remaining in the game. The Cards up 49-12. Again, Coach Triv getting some some of the underclassmen and some of the non-starters in the game. Manning Trubisky, the QB on that last drive. We'll see who ends up trotting out to be the signal caller on this drive for the Cards. Last week, Coach Triv had 4 different quarterbacks that he used in the game, so we'll see who ends up going out for this possession here. Logan Shea, one of the Cardinal receivers, set back there to receive, and Joe Lampert back there as well. A little over 6 minutes to go in the game. Cards with the big lead, 49-12 at home over Shaker Heights. But Coach Jarvis Gibson calling a trick play on that last possession for Shaker Heights, catching the Cardinals defense sleeping for a wide open touchdown score for Marcus Carthon. And the Cards set the run it back. Logan Shea running it up to about the 24-yard line for the Cards. Take that back. That's going to be Joe Lampert on the run back for the Cards. That was the junior wide receiver, Joe Lampert, getting in the mix for the kickoff return for the Cards. 5:41 remaining in the game. Cardinals getting set up on offense. Again, some of the underclassmen been pretty familiar with getting some reps in the second half of play with the customary big lead for the Cardinals that we've seen over the past 4 weeks here at home. Isaiah Gullick really doing a nice job and getting the ball again on that carry. Running straight ahead for the Cards, getting about 6 possibly on the ground for the Cards. And it looks like Manning Trubisky, who was in on that last drive for the Cards, is going to remain in the game again. Take the quarterback position, the sophomore signal caller for the Cards, number 6. 5:13 and counting on the game clock. 49-12. The Cards with the big lead. Manning Trubisky getting a play call from the sideline. 2 receivers to his right. 2 receivers lining up to his left. Flanked by 1 running back immediately to his left. And he's going to give that to the running back. Again with some positive yards. Looks like it's going to be Gullick again on the run. Getting close to that first down marker, but he appears to be just shy. Going to bring up a 3rd down and short situation. And I take it back. They're going to move the chains and give Gullick a credit for the first down on that. So they are going to say he was able to inch far enough ahead to get that first down for the Cards. 1st and 10. Let's do this again. 4:25 remaining in the game. Cards with the 49-12 advantage over Shaker Heights. Quarterback Manning Trubisky getting set for the quick connection with Zach Sparacia, moving down the field for the Cards. Shy of the first down, but about a 7-yard gain. Sparacia on the catch and the move for the Cards. Manning Trubisky's been very efficient when he's been in there at that quarterback spot in the second half of these games recently for the Cards. Inside 4 minutes to play in the game, 49-12, the Cards with the advantage. And the offense looking to the sideline for the play call, the no huddle. Getting set up, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Trubisky. Trubisky getting set, and he's going to hand the ball off again. Gullick running straight ahead, getting that first down, finding a hole, finding a lane, moving the chains as we get closer to midfield. The first down for the Cards. 3.5 minutes remaining in the game. Manning Trubisky again last week when he was in there, 3 for 3, including a touchdown pass. And proven to be very effective and efficient when he's been in here this evening so far. Cards moving the ball. Appear to be content to run it, but there's a passing connection to 84 for the Cards, moving straight ahead. That's Steve Lokesley. Steve Lokesley on the connection there. Manning Trubisky hooking up with him inside 3 minutes to play in the game. Going to say that ball is on the Shaker side of the field, 47-yard line. 2nd down and short on that 7-yard connection on the reception. Cards lining up. Manning Trubisky getting set in the shotgun. 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. He's going to hand the ball off to Isaiah Gullick with some running room up to the 40-yard line to about the 38 of the Red Raiders. side of the field. Isaiah Gullick finding a lane, moving the chains for the first down for the Cards. We do have a Cardinal down on the field as the Cardinal training staff goes out there to tend to the injured player. The rest of the team are moving to the sideline to talk about the next play as the Cards getting set for a first down situation. 2:21 remaining in the game. The Cards once again at home with the big lead over the visiting Red Raiders out of Shaker here this evening. The Thursday night special. Cards getting this game in with a nice weather evening when it's supposed to take a turn for the worse tomorrow night. So nice thing we got the game in on the day we did. Next week, Cards going to be going away from the JTO, playing in Brunswick. It's a pretty tough Brunswick team. The Blue Devils going into this weekend with a 4-1 record. And it does not get any easier after that. Again, following playing Brunswick next week, they're going to be facing two currently undefeated teams in Solon at home here in Menor, and then on the road the week after that versus the Hudson Explorers. And finally, they're going to go ahead and wrap up the season at home versus Strongsville. And they're going to call that the end of the game. Play clock didn't appear to wind down, but officials are going to call that a game. And the final score tonight is going to be 49 points for the home team. Menor Cardinals moving to 6-0 on the season as they beat the visiting Shaker Heights Red Raiders, who only have one victory on the season. So a decisive win once again at home for the Menor Cardinals. Couple tough games coming up in this next 4-game stretch as the regular season has a month to go. Cards look primed and ready to make another run into the postseason, but going to have some very challenging games you'd have to imagine coming up here. But the the Cardinals have been on a pretty substantial roll here as they've had a big, strong homestand. As we wish the best for the Cardinal player who is down on the field, as there is a stretcher coming out with the training staff. Pete Stark, Cardinal TV, proud to bring it to you once again and proud to bring another Cardinals victory to the viewers. You can watch the replay of this game on Time Warner Cable here in Menor, Ohio, channel 96.96. You can check us out on Cardinal TV, Menor, Ohio on YouTube, and now streaming us live this season on ESPNCleveland.com. Big victory for the Cards, 49-12. Cardinals again with a stellar offensive output this evening and strong on the defensive side as well, only giving up 12 points. So thanks for joining us and another Cardinals victory. See you next time.